Welcome to Over 50 and Frank, the podcast that says the quiet parts out loud. I'm Shannon, also known as Frank when I drop the filter. Around here, we talk about aging, menopause, wellness, and life after 50 with honesty, humor, and zero apologies. If you're over 50 and craving real talk, pull up a chair and send to your friends. Today, we're talking about cosmetic procedures like Botox, filler, and more. And they're often called Tweakments, where there's the line between doing something for yourself and feeling the pressure to fix what changed. How do you decide what feels what's right for you in a world that feels like women are constantly trying to look younger? In this episode, we unpack conversations around Botox, fillers, skin treatments, and choices women are making after 50 without judgment, without shame, and without telling you there's only one right way to age. If you've ever felt curious, conflicted, or overwhelmed by all the choices, this conversation will help you think about it in a way that feels more grounded. Let's get into it. When I started working in healthcare 20 years ago, and med spas were kind of up and coming, and Botox and fillers were a new thing, it seems like now it's just the norm. What is everybody getting wrong about Botox and fillers when it comes to aging?
I think there's probably that question could go in so many different directions, but I think what comes up in the practice a lot more now is that they're going to look fake. So to your point, I shared this with you before, there is as many med spas in the US today as there are McDonald's.
That is nuts.
I know, it's wild. It's totally wild. So I wonder where that would stack up with Starbucks and stuff too, because they seem to be on every corner, So naturally, when you have an industry that's just that ubiquitous, there's going to be all different kinds of players out there, meaning people who are just jumping into it without the right training, people who are in it for the wrong reasons, and then there's going to be people who are doing really good work out there. And so I think that most people what you see is the bad work, or not the bad work. I want to try and rephrase that. But what you see isn't the good work, because to me, in my opinion, good work is assimilated with nature. So it doesn't always mean it's your anatomy, but it's things you already find in nature, right? And so if you're looking at somebody and you can tell that they have filler in their face, that's not what I think is the best of the work that's out there. And so the whole industry is judged off of the work that you can see. That's the way I'd like to say it. It's judged off the work you can see. Some people might like that look though. So it's hard to say it's bad work because somebody might be into it. I'm personally not. I mean, what do you think of when you notice it in people's faces?
I am personally not into if I can notice it in someone's faces.
Right.
There's an influencer that comes to mind, Kayla Naguera, she does makeup and she purposely overfills her lips.
People want it.
I'm just kind of I look at her lips and go, I like that. She also overlines her lips, and I don't do that. So it's kind of because as you get older, overlining your lips, just especially if you have
fine lines and
wrinkles, they'll just go and bleed in there. But she's also 28 years old, so
I wonder where the industry's headed though, because when I see that, it is oftentimes younger girls who are aware of it and want it, right? When women in our age category have it, it's usually something in the lines of lip blindness, or eyebrow blindness and things like that, where they don't realize what's happened and they have something going on inside that causes them not to see what the rest of us can see, and they don't know that it looks like that. So when we get a patient like that in our office, it can be a while before they're ready to approach that conversation. We try and bring it up. You have to get to know people first. That's a sensitive topic. That's really, really sensitive. And that's not work we do. So usually how I guess it would probably come up, and our providers would probably be better at saying when it comes up, the original point is when they ask us to do their lips for them. Because they'll come in and it starts with wrinkle relaxer, for example, and they'll ask us to do that and we'll do that, and then it starts to escalate to doing this when they feel they're ready for it again. And that's when we say, well, we would be willing to do it with you, but you need to dissolve everything. And some people will come to us for everything but lips, and they'll go somewhere else for lips because that's the look they want. And so sometimes a year or 2 or even 3 years later, they're ready to approach it. They're sick of people bringing it up. They're sick of their partner, maybe oftentimes is somebody who brings it up. But, I think even when partners I don't want you to get all that stuff because you're going to look fake. It's because they only see those lips. When you look at my lips, do I look like it's full of filler?
No.
That's very intentional. Everything I do is that way. When I go to get my lashes done, I don't want them to look like I have lashes on. But that's all the high maintenance things to stay low maintenance.
Wait, you have lashes?
I have fake lashes on right now.
Oh, they're very natural.
Yeah, so it took a lot of work to find somebody who could do that, right? I don't want to I'm lazy, Shannon.
I am too.
When it comes to getting ready, I don't want to do any of that stuff. That's the only reason that I'm even into aesthetics for me personally. I don't want to wake up and do any of this stuff. So lashes eliminate that. You know, they eliminate putting a lash serum on every night, mascara and on top of that, you know. So it's all about, for me, just simplicity. But yeah, I mean, when you get somebody in who is overfilled, and it comes in more and more and more, you know, but that's like the main symptom, I think, of the industry just growing, the speed it has. Think about it. I'm 38 years old, okay? Botox was FDA approved, just over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay? So what, I'm 18 at the time. So that was like, everything you were seeing before then, for the most part, was people's natural faces. Here we are from that time period, and there's one on every corner. You know, here we are, and it's just the understanding is that your friends and family have this stuff in their, you know, everybody's doing it, kind of. And I think pretty much I think a lot of people are, even people who say they're not. Most people who say they're not. You know, people aren't admitting to their treatments as much as they're actually getting them.
I did a photo shoot 4 years ago and I asked some people to be in the photo shoot, and we had like a week. We were like, hey, we're going to do this photo shoot next week. We'd love for you to be in it. And half of the people were like, no, because I need to go get my Botox. And I was like, you have Botox? Like, I couldn't tell they had Botox, but they were like, I can't be in it because I'm like I'm supposed to get my Botox like in 2 weeks. And I need to have it for, I think, 2 weeks before it really starts to work?
Yeah, so on average, it takes 14 days for you to see your primary results. But there's, you know, when Botox first came out, that was all there was. Now we have these ones that are like more quicker reacting, and you can start to see your results in a few days. And like the industry has changed dramatically in those 20 years. But God, to think, lad, that, you know, like I'm totally untoxed right now. I have no tox in my face right now, so I have expression. And, you know, as somebody who owns a med spa, I just never want to live my life like that. Like I just wouldn't. I would still be at your photo shoot, you know? I'm here today and I have no tox in my face and we're on video.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, but like, well, like I don't do that. Like, but the reason I like these services is probably very different than maybe a lot of other people pick them too. But I would advocate for women to also like find that in between where they also still like see themselves, you know, and can show up as themselves every day regardless. Do I like the way I look more when I have like my eyebrows tox prop the way I like them, you know? Heck yeah, I do. That's why I do it. But I guess to like be a little bit devil's advocate there though, like research does show that if you are dressing up for a test, you score better. If you dress up for a phone interview, even if you're not seen, people do better and progress to the next interview phase when they feel like they represent themselves physically the way they want to, right? So I'm an advocate for getting the services if it helps you feel the way that you like to feel. Because then you go out in the world and you do your best work, you ask to be seen, you show up more presently, you know? So where are you getting the treatments from? Like, to me, I oftentimes like put them in the same category as somebody who's going to the gym for a physique. Most of us enjoy going to the gym for the physique and or for the health purposes. Yeah. Most people like both, right? Some people are just there for health and some people are just there for physique. That's their primary, right? But like you get both out of it. I would put these treatments into the same category as people who are like, we have a mutual friend who owns Consignment Collective and she is always dressed to the nines. Like that girl doesn't, even when we just like, she's coming over for like a quick thing, you know, like even her pajamas are cute.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay. She looks cute even in her jammies. And I'm just like, I have capsule wardrobes. Like I'm a little bit more simple.
I'm the same way.
Yes. I mean, you've seen me go out. Like I do get dressed up, but I tend to be a capsule wardrobe gal. That's what makes her feel good, to get dressed in that, even in her cozies, you know? People who are going to the gym for their physique, or if you like makeup, I don't want to put a lot of makeup on. I don't enjoy spending my time putting makeup on in the mirror. So I do these things to avoid it. To me, it's all in the same category.
I want to go back to what you were saying, like dressing to feel good and dressing for confidence. So when I first started my business, lost my job and decided to start a business, I really struggled with getting dressed. And so it was really important to me that I was not working in my pajamas. Yeah. But I also went from this environment in hospitality where you dressed up and had to wear pantyhose to working in a digital marketing agency to working in a brewery, in the brewery setting, and the digital marketing agency were like t-shirt and jeans. And like if I came into work wearing what I wore to the hotel, people were like, what are you doing, girl?
Oh, you're overdressed.
Yeah. And so I used to do like where I'd rent clothes, not like rent the runway. It was called Gwenny B. Okay. And I would get clothes in the mail. And then I had to drastically change like what they were sending me because it was just, I was overdressed. And eventually like my uniform for the brewery was a t-shirt and a logoed shirt.
Did you feel good
from
in
the brewery?
it?
No, I didn't.
No, yeah, that sucks.
I didn't think I was doing my best work. But then
Yeah.
when I lost my job and started my business, and I was like, I can't necessarily wear the hotel gear, and I can't necessarily feel good about wearing that hoodie and jeans. That's when I started doing capsule wardrobing, and that's kind of made the difference for me. And I felt it elevated me.
Yeah.
I got up, and I'm also the kind of person that gets up and gets ready for the day. I can't sit around in my,
So you always were before too. Okay. Yeah. So I do the capsule wardrobe because this is what I wear a lot of the time, because I can show up to work in this. I could show up to a professional thing in this. I could also go grocery shopping in this. This is I have 3 of these. Literally, I have 3 of these. I have 3 of the same casual chic pajamas that I wear around that also kind of look like an outfit if I throw a jean jacket over it. But this gets into why I do any of this stuff. My heart is in it, because same thing. I had Samuel, I have the 6-year-old, so I had him in February of 2020. And then we went into lockdowns in March. And prior to that, they had been putting the fear of death in us for months already. When you were going to your prepartum appointments, they'd been talking about it for 6 or 8 months about COVID before it actually became present for the rest of us. So we weren't really leaving the house. And I just had no one could come over, no one could help. We were all working from home. Our house flooded right before Samuel was born. I had hard pregnancy and labor, and then just breastfeeding on demand, and it was the same thing. I remember thinking during that time, how will I ever leave the house again? I actually thought because you kind of get I was fully in PPD at certain times, and my hormones had me thinking I don't know if I'll ever leave the house again, and really having these thoughts, So I do think that at some point on that journey, I also started realizing you need to get up and brush your hair.
Yeah.
You need to get up and have a normal routine, set an alarm, get out of bed, do these things. And you do kind of have that leak into the rest of your life and your mental health. But it looks different for other people. So if somebody doesn't care about if somebody likes putting makeup on every day, then by all means, let that be the thing that does it for you,
I love that.
Well, to that point, I'll never advocate for women to do these treatments unless they want them.
Yeah.
And if other women want them, I'll advocate for those women to do them too, without feeling guilt or shame for doing it.
What would you say to somebody that's dipping their toe into it? So all I've ever had done is I've had my face IPL'd, which is not, when I had a horrible reaction to it. Jason and I, when I went in for my microneedling, had talked about that. My face completely swelled up.
It did something for your skin in the end though, because you have great skin.
No, really, I mean, we have I had a spot over here that's gone.
Okay.
But I also have a home machine that I never use. So I'm starting to see spots come up all over the place, but that's okay. I'm fine with that. But I've had a lip flip, and I was deathly afraid. I think I blacked out because I don't remember.
You stop it.
I don't think I blacked. I think I just disassociated.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
From the lip flip.
I think because I don't remember it. I don't remember the lip flip, and I never got one again. So
okay.
I am dipping my toe into filler for sure this year, and maybe Botox. So what would you say to somebody that is dipping their toe? Because I'm worried about, is this going to hurt? Because it's going to.
For everybody. It's different for everybody. The fact a lip flip is the least thing you can do when you go into a med spa. There's no units involved. I think there, there can be as little as 2 injection sites, and it wears off super fast too. So you use that muscle a lot. There's no way around it, so you're using a lot. So it wears off more frequently, but more quickly. I think that it really depends on aging, where you're at in your aging cycle, and what interests you the most. But the industry would tell you that the gateway treatment is wrinkle relaxer. And when people come in to dip their toe in, that's what they're calling for. I spend a lot of time talking to people about long-term investment in their skin, because I think your skin is the number one way that you can view aging in somebody. I think microneedling is phenomenal.
Yes, microneedling, it's my favorite.
But I think what holds people back with these services is that they don't want to do something fake because of that fear of the fake look, and they don't know what Botox is going to look like because they've never had it, and they think people will call and they think Botox is what gives people puffy lips, and they don't know. So the thing that microneedling is nice for, if you're really skittish, which I would put you in that category based on what you just said, is that it's natural, so to speak. It's your body's natural healing process that's getting you the result. So you're not going to actually change your anatomy in any way. It's going to be you could put it in the same vein for people who are really familiar with peels and things, because there's all these at-home peels now, right? And people get peels from their estheticians now.
Yeah.
You could put it in the same vein as that, although this is a medical treatment that requires a blood draw oftentimes, depending on what you're using, or medical grade topicals and stuff. stuff. For anybody listening to this who wants to dip their toe in, yeah, start with microneedling, start with, a medical grade peel, start with wrinkle relaxers, the most common. And the thing about wrinkle relaxers, if it's done right, everybody likes it. Like, everybody likes wrinkle relaxer if it's done right. I've yet to meet somebody who doesn't enjoy it. But that's why, you get in and then it's like, oh, I did this and I love it. Somebody once said, well, if I get it, then do I look worse after it wears off? Well, no, it just wore off.
Yeah.
It's just like, do you look worse after you take your makeup off? Well, it's an opinion thing, But it's just the same as taking makeup off in that sense. It just is, you have it on and then you don't have it on,
What are you seeing specifically from women over 50 versus the younger crowd when it comes to these type of cosmetic procedures?
It's tough for me to answer because Ageless Health, our demographic, is we specifically seek out like 30 and above women because I try and work with like women who are realistic, practical, busy, because our goal is to like give you your time back. You're working, you're a mother, you're doing all these things, and our goal is to say like, hey, come in here, 3 times a year and we'll take the rest of this off your plate every morning, But so we don't get a ton of calls from the younger gals. I do get mothers calling sometimes asking if they can bring their daughter in for lips. So I think, and they're, high school age or something. And
oh, wow.
Asking. Yeah. So I would guess, and based on what I see out in the world, like I would say lips, wouldn't you? Like, isn't that the thing that, that you see on everybody's face, So I think it's probably lips. But what I see in the older gals, and when I say that, I just mean like adult women, is that women are leaning more towards wanting to, even women who don't actually look natural, because we get this a lot where they come in and they say, why, I just like to keep my look natural. And I'm thinking, you've lost sight of what that is, when you're sitting here. And we have to I call it walking people home. We have to walk people home in all sorts of ways in the practice. And they're not, like I said, they're not ready for that conversation right now, but they come in saying they want to look natural. And I'm thinking, you're nowhere near it. You've got 3 or 4 dissolver sessions in you before, you're back to even like us being able to work on you. There's a disconnect there.
So if somebody doesn't like their Botox, is there a way, this is me.
This is a great question.
Is there a way to reverse it?
This is such a good question. I'm so glad you asked it. So that's the best and worst thing about Botox. The best thing about Botox is that it wears off if you don't like it. The worst thing about Botox is it wears off if you do like it. And I want to bring this up too. When we say Botox, the whole industry, like it's when you say, like, can you hand me a Kleenex? It might be any brand of Kleenex. I can't think of another brand, but like there's 5, there's Botox, Dysport, Daxify, Latibo's a new one, Xeomin, and Jeuveau, so like there's 6 products on the market now that I know of, and there's some overseas that have been around for over a decade as well. So, but, you come in and if you love your tox, then when it starts to wear off, what a bummer, right? But if you don't love it, no, there's no solution other than time. And I've had this happen. So I was treated for the first time with Daxify, which is they say it's supposed to last 6 months. I would say about 50% of patients actually get that out of it, okay? I'm one of the lucky ones, so to speak, that got 6 months out of it. But I was having a stressful time, and the day of treatment, I went home and I was sitting at my computer rubbing my eyebrow all day while I was trying to work through something, and I dropped my eyebrow, and I had my eyebrow just a little, it wasn't the same as the other eyebrow. And I could go in and they could touch it up and they could make it better and like more even, but nobody else noticed. Also, to be clear, like most of the time when somebody has an anomaly like that in treatment, they notice it more than other people. Like you're going to look in the mirror and you're going to notice it more than somebody else is going to notice it. So nobody noticed on me, but I noticed it and it was bothersome. And it lasted for 6 months because I just tried the 6-month product. So, it just depends on if you like your result or not. But it doesn't metabolizes on its own naturally.
Okay, so with filler, you can dissolve it.
With filler, you can dissolve it, yeah. And so, there's research that shows that there's sometimes filler in people's face for up to 10 years because it's their body's natural metabolization process. Most people, because that's an average, the bell curve, whatever is on the box is the duration of filler. That's the majority of people for how long it lasts, 8, 12, 16 months, let's say. And so, people who have had it in their face for, they're on this side of the bell curve, or if you're looking at it, the right side of the bell curve. And if you don't like it though, yeah, you can come in and get it dissolved. Most of the people who have filler in their face at that stage, they like what they're seeing, and so they're not coming in to get it dissolved. And also, like something somebody brought up to me when we were in a Galderma training, who was kind of going over some of that stuff, was that as we age, we continue to have bone loss and fat loss. And so if your filler is compounding and you're touching it up as needed, or whatever you think as needed is, or to your liking, if you're touching it up to your liking, then you're just continuing to maintain. So I'm really into like maintenance and replacement, not into like big sweeping changes, maintenance and replacement, right? So as you're losing, maybe you're adding at the same rate that you're losing. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense. I'm hearing a lot of buzz about Sculptra, and honestly, I don't know what it is. Let's talk about what that is and how people are doing that and the results they're seeing from that.
It's one of my favorite treatments, and I put it in alignment as far as like the outcome that you get, although I think it's more aggressive in your outcome, which is why I would suggest it for older ladies, than microneedling. So microneedling is a skin treatment. You're going to get that skin result, like you mentioned, a brown spot. If you do these treatments, those are the types of things you'll see resolved. So Sculptra is a biostimulator, which means it's your body's natural process is getting you the result, right? So I love it because, again, it doesn't change your anatomy. So it's not like you're coming in and saying, oh, I want these new lips, or oh, I want these new cheeks or something. It's a skin treatment. So you're going to see fine lines and wrinkles disappear. You're going to see brightening and lightening. Yeah, you're going to see your dark spots. And when I say disappear, you know, like, what does that mean? There's a spectrum there. So like certain things surely won't, but like you will notice that things will completely be eliminated. Other things will be softened, fine lines, wrinkles, brown spots, all that. So it's a skin tightening. And I think that one's better for like women 30 and above. But we don't, you know, see a lot of patients below that age range at our practice regardless, you know. But if you're kind of timid to having results where people are going to notice, it's my favorite. It's my favorite before and after, and it has nothing to do with changing your anatomy. So I'll show you some.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll show you some.
I had a friend that got it, and it was a noticeable result.
Yeah, well, you would notice it in the sense where you're seeing her skin.
No, I mean, they did the before, and then she did the after, and she's the same age as me, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And she said it was like how often do they get the Sculptra?
So, okay, so the thing that makes it kind of touchy is somebody has to be patient. So like I always say, they don't call medicine, like medicine's called a practice for a reason. And it's because every day you come into Ageless or wherever office you're going into, you're a new person. So they're constantly practicing. Your body is changing all the time. And I call patience, and patience being patience isn't a misnomer. So Sculptra is something you have to be patient for. In this day and age, like they have Amazon now, you know, like my package is here in an hour. Like I want my filler
and
result.
the viral, you want the views now.
I want it now. I want it now. Sculptra, you're not going to get it now because it's a biostimulator, because it's your body doing its thing. You can't rush the body. And so some patients don't have the patience, and they'll come back and say, well, I don't notice anything. It's like, well, it's only been, 2-3 weeks. Sculptra on label, they say you get your final result 8+ months out.
Oh, wow.
Right? So you're coming in, you're getting so they say to do 1 vial for every decade of life at your first appointment. So if I'm 38, I would get 4 vials. So you would do, but you wouldn't do, so you would at your first cycle. So I would do 2 in my first appointment, 2 in my second appointment, and then I wouldn't come back for a year. I won't see my final, you'll get an immediate pop, like a nice little glow up, but you won't see your final result for, 8+ months. And so patients who want something right away, this is an investment, but it's worth it. It's worth it. We had a gal come in who did a BBL with it, and she was like, I just didn't notice anything. And that was a big investment on her part. That's a lot of Sculptra for that area. And I said, well, I'm always open. To this day, Shannon, I still it's like pulling a rabbit out of a hat. Like I am always, it works, but I'm still like, wow, this is so cool that these things work. Like I love seeing the result. I love seeing the before and after. So, but I'm always open to potentially, there's non-responders in everything we do in medicine.
Yeah.
And so she came in and I said, well, let's just take a picture. We just did it while we were sitting there talking. I went and found her original. I put it next to her and I showed it to her, and we're at 8 months out, and she was like, oh, damn. Yeah. Schedule me for my annual. And that's because just like you don't see yourself aging, you don't see the age coming off either.
I don't notice the wrinkles right here and my, I don't notice them right here, but then somebody will, and mine are basically because I sleep on the side.
Mm-hmm. Sleeping lines is like the number one thing that we treat. It is. You're laying there for 8 hours a day.
If I could just sleep on my back. Something that was suggested, and I still haven't done it, is get frownies for that.
I've tried them, and this is the thing, like I'm this low maintenance gal. Like I do not have that in me. Have you done them?
No, they were like, somebody suggested, I think it was Jason in your office said, go get some frownies. And then I was like, is there a cheaper version? Because then I went and I priced it, and I was like, oh, those are expensive. I don't want to wear those every night.
To me, I have no idea, because I did it one night and I was like, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like the blowout things in your hair. I'm never doing those again.
Put these things on one by one. I just don't want to do that stuff. That's why I like this. But yeah, like you may not, if you don't see those, then I wouldn't do anything about them. That's always my advice to people. If you're not bothered by them, don't do anything about them. But it only matters how you feel about yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I was talking to a mom at the Deschutes Women of Business event the other day, and I'm like, there's nothing, like, I'm not interested in the male gaze at all anymore. Like, at all. They say, like, women dress for each other now. And it's so true. Or myself, So if something's not bothering me, or, I could care less. So, but with Sculptra, it comes off slowly, just like it came on slowly. So you'll wake up one day and maybe you'll say like, "Oh, I look good," and I don't know why. And it's 8 months after Sculptra treatment. That's why.
I always like wake up 2 weeks after having microneedling done and go, wow, the glow, the glow up. Okay, so if somebody wants to start dipping their toe into cosmetic things, where do you suggest they start? From what I've heard you say, maybe microneedling might be a good place to start, and then the lip filler, and then the Botox.
The reason that I say that that's so age dependent, though, is because like this is an example I use a lot too when I'm on the phone. Is when you talk about Sculptra and you say like a vial per decade of life, that's just because like people tend to frequently age visibly, similarly. Okay, but we had this gal who was a mail delivery woman on somewhere in California on foot, and she was out in the sun all day, every day for 20 years. She was not aged like the average 40-year-old woman, her skin, So if somebody's coming in and they're wanting to dip their toe in, we maybe would start them in totally different places because of the things that are their concerns. And what we try to do is everybody in our office has to have the skill and ability to be able to assess a full face treatment at the very least, and give options for it. But we're not bothered by anything on anybody's face. Some of my favorite faces have like the most beautiful wrinkles I've ever seen, so we're not bothered by anybody's stuff. So we let people come to us and say, this is what my concern is. And then we get to say, well, this is the best thing for that concern. But if you're like we said, if you're scared and you're nervous, then microneedling is like the gateway thing. But I'm a huge fan of wrinkle relaxer. If you come in and get that done, you're going to, you haven't done it, have you?
No.
Yeah, you're going to love it.
I just have had it like right here.
Yeah, don't count.
And yeah, you
it doesn't do the same thing. It doesn't do the same thing at all as what it does with the rest of your face. When you can like puppet a little bit with wrinkle relaxer. A really good injector can, raise your eyebrows a little bit, give you an arch, bring up the corners of your mouth, like women who come in and say like, I have the worst RBC or RBF. I have the worst RBF.
I have that.
If you have RBF, there's things we can do to, alleviate that. And it's preventative too. So it doesn't just give you this pop and this glow up, but if you're making faces, like your mom used to say when you were younger, if you make that face, it's going to stick, and you thought it was a joke, well, here we are in our 40s and 50s, and it stuck. It sticks. And so how it's preventative is it stops you from making the faces that stick. Yeah. I love a natural face. I love a natural face too.
Okay, so what is the difference between maintenance and transformation?
So I think that women who, and actually like even different than transformation, would be what we call doing a restoration, really. So like maintenance is somebody coming in and they're in the early stages of aging and they're saying, I'm just starting to notice these things and I don't love it and I want to do something about it. And then it's like, okay, well, we're just going to replace things that are lost. Some women do come in and they say, I've always had, for example, we're going to use everybody's favorite, tiny lips, and I want to have bigger lips. How can we give you a natural lip that is a total transformation, because you have maybe I had very, very thin lips, like almost non-existent. So that would kind of be in the transformation cycle. But let's say you're just noticing aging and you don't like it, then that's going to be maintenance, where you're coming in and I'm saying, or replacement. And the providers are saying, hey, we're going to replace some of the fat loss in these areas, some of the bone loss that you've had, and we're going to refresh your look. And it still looks your new age and age appropriate, but it's replaced some of the fat and bone density that was lost. And then restoration. Somebody who's come in and they're in advanced stages of aging and they're saying, I'm fine. I'm ready to do something about this, and I'm not happy with this. Well, I'm not happy with what I'm seeing, and I'm ready to do something about it. I do try to tell people that, like I said, I would never advocate for women to get these services unless it makes them feel good from the right place, and they're doing it from the right place. But if you are somebody who wants these services and you wait too long, or when you get into restoration phase, there's a couple of things that are factors with that. Is I tend to find that restorations are harder to treat to give the more natural look, because you were working with older aging skin that we haven't had the opportunity to, support over time. And it costs a lot more because you're going to do a big sweeping thing, which is obviously more product, but then also we're having to turn the clock back instead of kind of pausing the clock.
Yeah.
So those are much bigger treatment plans, and they cost more, and they don't just cost more like over time, they just cost more altogether. Whereas if you're coming in and you're saying I want just little tweaks, you never really get to a place where you may desire to even do a restoration. And so, I think if you're somebody who you think is interested in this, by the time you're ready to do it, like dip your toe in earlier than later if you want to have that future natural look too.
I love that. We're going to start lightning round, ask you some questions, and you just say one word. Okay, this one won't be one word. One thing you wish every woman knew before walking into a med spa.
Ooh, to do some research, because we talked about it being so ubiquitous nowadays. Do your research. It's not just about it is mainly about your result, but keep safety in mind and also who you're working with if you can align with them.
Most overdone look right now in one word.
Lips.
I knew that was going to be it. Best bang for your buck treatment.
It's wrinkle relaxer. Everybody likes it. You're going to be happy with it. Yeah, Botox.
Well, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you coming to get your knowledge. Joy is with Ageless Med Spa in Bend, Oregon, and you have another location?
So we have one in Gresham and one in Tualatin, and the original is we have one in the Old Mill District here in Bend.
Yep.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
And plugging me.
I'll be getting my lips done. You'll see soon. So
after what you just told me, I don't know. Your lip flip.
Oh, I don't think they did very much.
Are you committed? Okay, cool. I can't wait to see it. It's gonna look really nice.
Yeah, my lips are like raisins.
So let me ask you this: like, if you had when you look in the mirror and you see your lips, and if you saw them, like the things about them that you don't like gone, would it make you happier?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, then this is when I say, just come in and do it. Just finally do it and stop putting yourself through, not liking it. But if it doesn't bother you, then again, don't do it at all. But I'm so excited for you to get it done based on what you just said. You're going to love it, Shannon. Yeah.
I can't wait. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for listening to Over 50 and Frank. If today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love it if you'd follow the show, leave a review, or share this episode with a friend who needs to hear it. You can find links, resources, and everything we talked about in the show notes. I'm Shannon, and I'll be back next week with more candid conversations about style, wellness, and life after 50.